So based on your experience, what are the easiest part contra the most complicated part with developing the right brand fit music for brands stores?
Developing is pretty straightforward when you have this model, but I would say that the most complicated part, or where you sometimes can miss the target, is when is like the actual target group, because usually the marketing department has a pretty clear picture of the brand and what it stands for. But then in the end, it's the customers of that brand that's going to listen to the music. And sometimes the people that owns the brand has maybe one idea what type of customer they have. And sometimes, or quite often, my experience is that they have kind of a maybe more rosy picture of their ideal customers. And a lot of times the customers aren't actually as they describe them. Maybe they are not so, so if you get the wrong picture of what the target group is, then sometimes you can select the wrong music, because you select music that maybe they can relate to or understand, or I would say that is the trickier part.
And that was also proven when I did like the pre-studies before the big study in the Gant study, that the brand identity that the customer had, and when you went out and asked those objectives with the customers, you could see that the brand image, as it's called then, didn't really fit. So it's very important for brands to remember that the communication that they make out of the brand identity that they want to be perceived, that they also need to go out and ask their target group, does this fit? And that is when I would say is you come the closest to finding the perfect music. But I have another, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here. So when people create sound and music back then in film and advertising, then you have the visual in front of you, and then it's easier to create the sound based on what you see. But stores is a little bit more challenging because it's more than just the brand and brand values. And I've been sitting in stores, and there's a couple of other elements, and that is like what kind of task is the staff performing, and what kind of products are they selling, because there's a difference with products that is more like you can do impulsive purchase contra buying a very more expensive product that probably is like you need time to go and do research and figure out because you can't get it wrong. But also there's a flow going on in the store, so you need to also want to know how do you want to use the music for the customers to move. What is your take on this?
Yeah, of course. I mean, just fitting the music to the brand, that's only one aspect. But yeah, like I mentioned, the whole business, what the business prerequisites are, is aspect that, I mean, that's not what we really looked at in the Gant study, but it's also very important to have that in mind when you program these playlists. Even though maybe the music fits the brand, there's still other elements that you need to take into account.
Yeah.
Like you said, what type of behaviors do we want to promote among the customers, and not forget the employees, because I mean, they are the ones who are actually going to stand there listening to the music day in and day out. And if they hate the music, I mean, it's not too far-fetched to assume that their performance will kind of be affected by that if they are irritated about the music all the time. So that is, of course, another aspect that you need to take into account. That maybe does not really have so much to do with the actual brand fit part, but it's very important when you program music for businesses.